Good afternoon, everybody. Uh, I basically look after this company which is into power market analytics, another innovative area in the power market domain, where something which was needed much earlier and was not being done is something that we are trying to do over the last 5 years. And this all basically started with when we started thinking of developing a forecasting system for the Indian power market, where every state has to give a schedule on a daily basis. And we thought that to bring in more accuracy to that schedule, we can work around with information that is floating around across the sector, related to weather, related to all the other related parameters which are concerned with the power market and which affect the load in the system. And that is where we thought of starting. And when we started doing that, we saw that even though enough amount of information is available, it's not well streamlined to make sure that it comes and gives you a forecast. Okay, and that is when we started working on this tool, which basically helps you, like a CNBC for the stock market. It basically helps you analyze the entire power market, individual customers, individual generators, individual utilities on your own. You basically have the entire database in place to make sure that that analysis can happen, and you can arrive at decisions much quicker, much earlier than anything which is possible without doing that. Now, I'll basically take the thread not only from this session, Mr. Sonde, but also our earlier speaker, Mr. Anurag Goyal, from the Competition Commission of India, who basically stressed upon the fact that yes, there are market developments which have happened, and the power sector needs to take care of, take into account the developments that have happened in different other sectors and make sure that it becomes useful for us. Okay, so if we see that more or less the developments in the power market on a rapid basis started in the late 90s, and it's almost the same time when the IT revolution was there. We have then come across a telecom revolution. There has been the Electricity Act that has come up. There has been a social media boom. Now, the only thing that we need to do is to connect all these threads, make sure that the information that is needed across the sector to arrive at better and effective decisions comes into the power market also, and all those things are put in together to make sure that people are well informed before they take any decision that basically runs into crores of rupees every single time block. Okay, so that's where we basically are trying to come in, and what we essentially do is we provide an analytics platform with an online portal along with various other services like newsletters, reports, and everything that's basically connected, so that you can basically be aware of what's happening in the market on the regulatory front, on the power market front, on the news and events that are happening. All those things put together, along with the related parameters like the weather, like the power outages that are happening across the country, the tenders that might be coming, okay, the regulatory changes that might be happening, and all of this in real time. So, something which is like, the entire sector is connected through a single grid. But even now, what we see is RLDC is managing most of the network, sharing information on a regular basis. But the NLDC as such does not give us an all India picture on a real time basis. They quote security reasons for it, but the market is anyways running. Okay, so if the market is running at an all India level, the information sharing has to happen at the all India level. So make sure that people there are in a position to take decisions. There are enough number of magazines and newsletters which come out, which basically analyze what's happening in the sector. But the only problem with them is that they become obsolete once. If you have to forecast for tomorrow, and if you have to predict for tomorrow, you basically need to know what's happening today and maybe what's the forecast in terms of weather and others for tomorrow, and not what had happened last month or maybe month or a year earlier. Okay, so that's something which needs to change, and we are basically trying to bring in that change. Okay, now even though the information is similar, there are different players to it. There are generators, there are traders, financial institutions, consultants, regulatory commissions. Everybody needs information of the same kind. The only thing is the way they need that packaging to happen is different. Okay, so what we are trying to do is to make sure that it essentially gets customized into, let's say, a customized dashboard or a customized offering, which basically then helps you get a glimpse of what you precisely want, and, and so that you can take a quick decision. So there's similar information needed, but there are varying perspectives, and we're exactly trying to cater to those perspectives. Okay. The length and breadth of the coverage would basically include, like, I mean, you can start right from the generator and single consumer level, and at the state level, and at the all India region, all India level, you can basically, I mean, you decide which level you want to analyze, you decide which information you want to go for, whether it is load, whether it's related to bilateral transactions that are happening across the sector, whether it is related to power exchange transaction. So it's, I mean, it's like a stock market website where you type in the name of the company, and you basically get all the details related to the stock, the financial performance, the news that is floating around related to that company. We exactly do the same thing with the power sector. So if you type in Sterlite Energy Limited, you'll basically get that information about Sterlite Energy, what all it has been doing, how many plants it has, what's the kind of capacity that it has, what is the already tied capacity in long term, in medium term, in short term, which are the traders which are most frequently trading power from Sterlite, which are, I mean, the frequent buyers for that power. I mean, identifying your customers at your own will. That's something that we are trying to do. And similarly for regulators, what we do is, I mean, instead of taking information from the distribution companies and analyzing them only, which in most cases becomes, I mean, an affair where you're basically analyzing somebody based on the information that he has provided, the way he wants you to analyze him. Okay, so that's the way where we come in, where we provide independent information without any biasness. We provide information where you can independently go and monitor what your discoms are doing, and maybe if not regularly intervene, you can come in at certain points where you can get into that entire mechanism of making sure that it benefits the consumer at the end of the day. Okay, so the only way we are trying to make sure that it benefits you is that we make sure that you don't just get a glimpse of one particular side of it, but you get the glimpse of the entire mammoth which is there in front of you. Okay, so the entire perspective thing goes away. You basically have a look at the entire spectrum, and you basically can take your own decisions based on absolute availability of information and absolute availability of the relevant details that are required, and up to the relevant level. So in a nutshell, what it basically does, it gives you an all India coverage, and it basically helps you save money, because every single organization across the country has at least a couple of resources to make sure that they analyze the market the way the organization wants them to analyze. But the only problem is that the information availability is limited, and they would definitely be able to analyze, but only to the limit they are in hold of that information. But since the boss has asked, they'll definitely come up with something, maybe half-cooked, maybe incomplete. So what we want is the people to take complete decisions based on complete facts. Okay. And it basically would save on your effort and time, because it's available over your mobile. It would be available on the website, so you can access it anywhere, anytime, as per your need, right on the click of a button. So that's where we basically are trying to fuse technology advancement with the power sector knowledge, where it basically then becomes useful on a regular basis, and so that the decision making can become faster. The way it looks like is like this. It basically gives you an all India curve, like maybe a couple of screenshots have been attached. It gives you a summary of the load that's happening, that's there across the country, a trend of those loads. Any time over the last 4 or 5 years, you can go back. That's the kind of information bank that we have. You can analyze the bilateral markets. You can click on any of these and get into details. So that's kind of the facility that we've tried to build in. So you click to zoom in, as in the normal mechanism that's followed for a Google chart or something like that. You have all flexibility right at the top to make sure that you can go around in time and the region that you want to analyze, and the state that you want to analyze. So there's enough amount of flexibility for that. And we are there into designing customized dashboards, so that specific 15, 10 questions that you have every day or maybe every week is something that is there in front of you. You don't need to ask anybody to give you the answer. It's right there in front of you anytime that you need. Okay. and the many services that we can combine together to offer it to you based on your specific needs. Thank you.